Hey, what's up? It's Paul from Guitar World. And they normally do not let me out of the house often, but here I am in the land of Gibson, Nashville, Tennessee. And it's just exciting. And I'm here with Dinesh from Gibson. So great to see you, man.
Paul, great to see you. And we're excited that you guys are here in the world of all things Gibson, man.
I love it. We've had a lot of great conversations, even off camera. But today, I'm going to focus on all the exciting releases that Gibson and Epiphone have just brought out. And Dinesh is going to take me through it and enlighten me here.
I thought I'd bring out some stuff that's not very what you would think of with Gibson.
Okay.
Some of the things that might be a little bit off the wall or off the beaten path kind of thing.
Yes, sure. We all love our Les Pauls, our Explorers and Vs, but let's go off the beaten path, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
The classics are going to live forever, so it's great. So, you know, these new ones that we're looking at right now, I'm particularly excited about what you're holding.
Actually, me too, as a matter of fact.
I mean,
I had to hold this one because I love black guitars. Like, to me, I'll take any color as long as it's black, and this one came in my color, so here I am.
So this is the new Epiphone Coronet, USA made, right?
Oh, this is USA made.
USA
okay.
made,
Got it.
You get a slim taper neck, and you get the soap bar, you know, P90 there. Just a simple wraparound, man, and a nice, you know, slimmer body style.
Of course, the profile on this particular Coronet is just great. It's just easy to get around on this guitar.
If you're not a fan of the shape of a Junior or a Special, there's something else for you now, right? And again, with the double cutaway, super easy to get to the notes. They do the hand-wired electronics on this, so you get the CTS pots and the orange drop caps. You know, the price point, too, for where it's at, it's like you get a USA-made instrument. We had, you know, Charlie Starr come in not too long ago, and we just had a interview come out with him, and he's talking about the P90. Right. I gotta feel like P90 is like the underdog pickup, man.
They are, but I mean, if you never really played a P90, there's something about sort of that raw sound to it, right?
Yeah.
I guess it has a bit of bite, a little growl to it, and, you know, especially with the right amp, just, it's...
Totally.
You know, you just turn it up. I mean, right, isn't Jared James Nichols, just that's his thing.
Kid shreds on a P90, right? Yeah. And I just think it's a really just straight ahead, no frills, let's just go and get the job done. And then you got something different to look at. It's a nice touch on the knobs. Gives it like a little bit of a retro throwback, you know?
I totally dig it. And of course, you know, that almost the ivory color adds a little bit of that vintage vibe to it, so.
Yeah, so that came out as of the 14th of this month, May. Just easy peasy, man, on the hands as well, you know?
Yeah, not bad, right?
Hey, there it is. Tone-wise, you're playing through our new Gibson Dual Falcon amp behind us.
Oh yeah, tell me a bit about that. It's great.
So excited about this one because we released the Falcon 5 and then we released the Falcon 20. So, you know, you had your 10-inch, you had your 12-inch, and you're running 6v6s, of course. You can swap those out. Now, this latest creation here, this latest version of the Falcon amps, 6L6 is already stocked in the amp. And you got two 10s. And it's two channels now. So two identical channels, just like how we would have on the Fillmore amp or the Badlander, right? So dual channels there. Reverb and tremolo are foot switchable. But again, you get a little bit more headroom with the 6Ls, a little bit more bottom. And then now you got the two 10s pushing. The wattage 15, 6, and 2, which you can go from full to half down to low power. So right now, I have you running on half power in channel 1 and half power in channel 2. So if I was to just bump it up,
got a great sound.
Yeah. Now I'm going to bump it down all the way to the lower power setting. So let's see what this sounds like. I'm just going to crank. I'm just going to dime the master, dude.
It's got like a bit of a vintage fuzz to it, right?
Right.
So pretty cool.
So what's interesting is there's like a little bit of space between that all the way up, and then if I just backed it off a little bit, it kind of came back to like a normal place, right? And then if I just throw it all the way up, it gets like that.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's like noon on the low power setting.
Wow.
So it's got these cool old school retro tones, and I thought that'd be kind of nice to hear with the Coronet, you know?
Yeah, it sounds great. It sounds fantastic.
And then I'll throw some, it's all tube driven tremolo and reverb. So we've got trem on there too.
Sounds great.
And it just sounds like, you know, sounds classic, sounds old school.
Yeah, so I don't have to fake it with the volume knob here.
No. So, you know, just getting that same thing that everyone loves from the Falcon 5 and the 20, but just foot switchable now. I mean, the guys at Mesa really knocked it out of the park by trying to...
And it's also a different sounding amp than, say, some of the Mesas, you know. It's a really... It sits in its own space, which is really nice.
They made sure to stay, like, on that path of what those old amps sounded like. And then, you know, Randall, he's going to make sure that there's, like, a little something in there to kind of make it a little more efficient if you want to, but then still bring it back down to where you need it to be, you know, if you want the amp to sound like that breakup that we were getting where it's like a fuzz pedal, which I think is super interesting.
Sounds cool.
And just something, you know, nice to use there. Like an alternate tool. You know?
No, it sounds great.
So the next thing I got here
is this.
Again, continuing with the, you know, that's not the Gibson that I know or that I thought you would play, the Theodore.
The Theodore, yes.
So we saw a run of these, you know, everyone might have saw the custom shop run. I had the P90s.
Yep.
Brought it back. We did a video on this one, and it was one of those guitars where you look at it and you're kind of like, what's going on here? You know? And then you put it in your hands and you play it and you're like, I got it.
Yeah.
So this goes back to some drawings and designs that we had back in the vault during the same era that all the other guitars that you know and love were being designed.
Sure.
Right? This one just never made it to the light of day. So we went back in there. We like to go grab these little Easter eggs from our vaults on certain things. You know, with the Supremes, you would see the new chandelier headstock design that we also grabbed.
Yep.
So, you know, you got the Theodore. It's super slim neck here, super slim body. You got the burst buckers.
Yep.
Dude, another's just straight ahead. One volume, one tone. Give this guy a spin.
A little more substantial weight to it, but it's not. It's super lightweight like that.
Yeah.
But it has a sort of a different balance to it. I would imagine it's a matter of taste for many guitar players.
Right.
Whether, you know, it's like you got a little bit of Explorer up here. We're almost SG territory here. But the
guitar players are very visually drawn creatures.
That's true.
Headstocks can be everything too. So
I'm trying to remember the other Theodore was obviously the Korean body. This probably is a Korean body as well, right? Or am I wrong?
Oh, no, mahogany. Of course, the Theos, they come in 3 cool colors. You've got ebony, you've got cherry, and then antique natural as well.
Then you guys added your, you know, the stop bar tailpiece. And you have burst buckers.
Burst buckers, yep. And then you also get the hand-wired electronics and the orange drop caps, the CTS pods.
Yeah.
The neck is super comfy.
Yeah, that's another thing that really stands out on this is it's a great neck. If anything, it reminds me very much like an SG neck.
Yes. If you want me to tell you about, like, okay, what's its closest relative, it's definitely going to be the SG, I would say. And then the double Florentine cutaways, they call it. That's the part where it's just like, it's like this guitar in the same design where it's just like, dude, super accessible for reaching up to those higher notes.
If you really want to get up here. You know,
and you get the humbucker thing. It's like, I think of smaller frame players. I think of like, you know, younger players or just people with small hands. Like, you know.
I agree. But very loud with the humbuckers there. See, now it roars. Sounds huge for, you know, for such a small-bodied guitar, right? A little bit of that tulip shape, right? There it is.
Yes.
So,
and again, it was one of those things where, like, even looking at it on a stand, it was like, wow, okay. Then you just throw in your hands, and it's like, okay, there's the sound, there's the feel, and now I've got another choice besides a Les Paul and an SG and do something a little bit different, you know?
I mean, it's a cool guitar. I mean, I can't fault it. Again, it's something that I think many players are just going to, whether you gravitate towards it or you're like, well, maybe it's not for me. But who knows? But honestly, if you play it, it's a great playing guitar and sounds great too. I mean, wow. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, man. Good
what
stuff.
else? So what else have we got? Do we have anything else that we want to show?
So we're bringing back our most classic acoustic models, and we're doing a line. These are rosewood. So instead
rosewood
of the
back and sides?
instead of the you know, the mahogany back and sides, you get the rosewood now. Gives it a different vibe. So you know, if you want just something a little bit different than the mahogany, you get a little something, you know, just to have a variety in the line. This comes in the J45. We also have in the SJ200 out there in the front. But I thought I'd just kind of, you know, show off, give a little love to the acoustics.
The Montana
Yeah,
division.
they do great work, man, as always. So they're always cooking up new ideas and using different tone woods. As we know with an acoustic, it's all about the tone woods.
Yep. So I got to be honest, I am partial to the J45s. I love the J45s. I just love the shape, the tone, and of course, my favorite has always been rosewood back and sides. I just find a distinct tonal difference compared to mahogany, and I think it's a softer, warmer sound.
Yes.
And you know, and then you can't go wrong with sunburst.
No, not at all.
Especially on a Gibson. Is it a nitro finish on this particular guitar?
These do get nitro.
They do get nitro.
Yeah, they do get nitro. So, you know, you get the characteristics like you were saying, the J45's your jam. You know, you get the dovetail neck joint. You get the X bracing inside, the scallop bracing and all that. And the dome top, which is the whole reason why the Gibson guitars sound the way they do and like give you that like mid-range push, you know, which is where the acoustic likes to live, or the guitar in general, you know? So yeah, like you said, it's just another alternate choice here. You get the gold hardware.
Yeah, of course, I love having the Grovers on these guitars. Again, just to me, they're great tuners, especially, you know, trying to keep the tuning on an acoustic can be sometimes a little bit sketchy, but
and they still the same high-end electronics, so it's the LR bags. So yeah, this appears also in the SJ200 as well, so you get those, another choice if you want as well.
Very cool. I mean, I love it. So we brought out the Cadillac.
The big box drummer.
That's right, the big box drummer, another way of putting it, sure.
Interesting, last night I saw Stevie Nicks, she played here at the Bridgestone, and Waddy Wattel was using that on Landslide. And it's interesting because sitting from here, hearing you play the rosewood version of this guitar, there's a spread.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit warmer, like you were saying.
Yeah.
You know? Well, you still get the mustache bridge here. You get the crown inlays, all mother of pearl, of course, and the iconic pickguard. Now, this one's got a little bit more advanced electronics. So you've got the LR bag system in here.
Yep.
But this is the one that's got the microphone inside, too.
Oh, okay.
So you've got the microphone and the saddle that you can kind of blend between, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this one's great. Rosewood back and sides on this one.
Yes.
And the difference between this and the J45 is the neck profile. So
that's right.
Big difference. So the J45 is a more fuller, like C profile, I guess. And this has a more, almost a slimmer C.
Yeah, yeah.
It's real nice. It's a real nice, real comfortable, which belies its giant,
so the giant
bottom
box.
end.
Yeah.
You got this small neck, and it's great. How is that? And then, of course, we have the big plush
The Imperials.
Grover Imperials. Yeah, it's like love that. So yeah, so everything about this guitar is deluxe, and it's just again matter of taste whether you like the more working man vibe of the J45 or the big Cadillac proportions of this.
And then and you nailed it earlier with the rosewood versus the mahogany. You know, just to have that different flavor.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, you just can't go wrong with either one. But it's fantastic. So. Again, just another day I come with a Gibson when I want to really walk out with like 3 or 4 things, and they'll probably pull me to knock me down at the door. And so, anyway, what have we here?
Lots of tone.
Okay.
A lot of tone here. So, while you're here, I wanted to give you a quick rundown of the Mesa Boogie Badlander amp, right?
All right.
So, this amp came out a few years ago, and I remember when this amp came out, you know, the guys up at Petaluma, the team up there, they were really trying to put together a rectifier series amp where it was a little bit more aggressive, tighter, a little bit meaner. So if one could ever think of having more gain on a rectifier, this could be that answer. But the funny thing is, you know, when I think of this amp, it gives me like this British-inspired vibe to it because it's EL34 driven.
EL34.
So it comes in 3 packages. There's a 50 watt like we have here. There's a 25 watt, and then you get the 100 watt if you want the extra headroom and the extra low end push, right? So I got you plugged into the 50 and we're going through a 412 rectifier, but I just wanted you to kind of play through it, Paul, and just kind of get your vibe and take on it. I hear some plexi-ish type tones in there, as well as the American voice stuff as well. You know?
Right? Wow, that is something.
That's 50 watt mode. There's 2 channels, 2 identical channels.
Okay.
So I'm using channel 2 as the drive right now, but if I wanted to set them both at the same, there's 3 modes. There's a clean, crunch, and a crush mode.
Crush. I like
We're not crushing at the moment, but we are definitely crunching at the moment, you know?
The crunch sounds pretty crunchy.
Yeah. Now, the gains, I've got it up there at about 1, almost 1 o'clock,
Okay.
but I can bring that back, and we can kind of, chill it out a little bit. I'm going to go to the bold mode so we can get the full-on from the power section.
So a lot of body.
Right.
I mean, it has body, but a big bottom end. It's big sounding. It's nice.
Yes.
Compared to a little more, where the other one was a little more compressed, right?
Right. So all I did there was you were in the Variac mode before.
Right.
So in case you're a player out there that wants a little bit of that, that more of an elastic feel under your touch, and also creates that airiness that we kind of heard as well. So now you're in the bold mode. If we did the same test and just kind of went back to Variac.
So big mids. The mids are right there.
Yes.
It's real nice, right? Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So now, the other way you can kind of get gain is I can go to the clean mode.
Sure.
So I'll go to channel 1 here, and now here's your straight up clean on 50 watts.
Real nice
clean,
yeah.
Right? And then if you want, we can push those cleans, which I think kind of sounds cool. So what I'll do is I'll just gain it up here. I'll turn my master down.
All right, let's see. Yeah.
So
nice,
now,
but smooth, really smooth, even as you push it up.
Now, if you hit the bridge pickup for me, and I'll go back to Variac, and you can kind of push it now.
It's a bit of a kind of chameleon. There's a little bit, I hear a little like that chiminess of a Vox.
Yes.
A bit of like a JCM 800.
Sure.
And then, then it's got that cranked Princeton.
We haven't gone to the crush mode yet. But like, you know, again, it's like one of those things where you don't really expect it to come from a rectifier series amplifier,
No,
right?
to me, this is a very new direction, at least for Mesa.
Yeah. If we went back to our crunch mode and I just wanted to go, I'll flip to 20 watts.
Okay.
You know, if you're at home, let's go back down to 20, go to the gig, hit it for 50.
I mean, great bass tone right there. Wow.
I don't want to discriminate on the 20 watts. We can still kind of push that up a little bit on the master, you know?
My man. Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
So back up to 50, and then for the final, another thing about the wattage in general is the character of the amp changes, but like the original tone is still there, right? So again, just being able to play this thing in the bedroom to the stadium, just with that extra wattage. And there's always this thing that we talk about with wattage where it's like 50 versus 100.
Yes.
It's only so much louder.
Yes.
Right? It's not really and I want everyone also out there, if you're considering a tube amp, it's not really a loudness thing. It's more of a feel. Your low end gets affected by wattage and just your headroom, right? Yeah. So especially with amps of master volumes, I'm a firm believer of the higher wattage, but I also know sometimes we can't always, do the scene from Back to the Future.
Their guys are always going to want more is more. They're going to want the 100 watt just for that increased headroom, a little more of that tighter, defined sound. But then again, I think there's a lot more guitar players who definitely love that dropped 50 watts. It seems to be a nice sweet spot where it all comes together.
And it's got a little flow with the feel, That's one of the things that it's kind of hard to showcase or talk about in a video, but I always try to think about that. I mean, you coming from a Mark IV.
Yeah, I come from playing 100 watts, and now I'm happy at 30.
Yeah. So now let me hit the crush mode. I'm going to work that master to right about there, bold mode on the power section.
That is just, wow.
It's like angry, but it comes with like a soft blanket at the same time.
It does.
So now Variac, you'll get a little bit more of that,
all right,
that feel. A
little tighter, a little.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. There's the mids right there. Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, man, it's mean. I mean, it's definitely aggressive, as we'll say, And I don't know if you can see the knobs from there, but as you know, with
different type of knobs for Mesa Boogie as well.
Different type of knobs, so different look. And coming from the Mark IV, you know how those amps work.
Yep.
You don't have to turn the knobs a lot.
No.
A little bit goes a long way. I know we're used to seeing stuff at noon, 4 o'clock, and all that stuff. But with the Boogie stuff, turn it to where you think it sounds good. The knobs do interact with each other too on the gain stages of things,
I do like that you notice the nuance for each thing that you did, like a small little degree of turning a knob, you hear the difference.
All I'm really doing is I'll maybe mess with the low end, a tiny touch, or maybe just the presence and treble. I'll like to use those in conjunction with each other on their amps. And the great thing about these newer amps that they come out with, they've got the cab clone circuit built in. So you can do your direct recording.
Go right out.
You can do the headphones. And now your neighbors don't hate you anymore, But it's one of those things where the capture that you're hearing right now is also the cab clone mimicking this cabinet. And, we do our own captures and all that, of course. So
that's great.
You can also upload your own IRs, third-party IRs. But yeah, you've got it in the 50 watt that can go to 20. You've got it in the 25 watt that can go to 10. And then the 100 can do all 3 wattages. British inspired, still gives you the bite of the rectifier, and I think you can really control the mids a lot with this. The mids are more prominent on the Badlander series.
I just like the simplicity of the knobs. I'm a simple guy. I'm a guitar player.
I'm gonna send you home with some knobs.
All right, I like that already.
But the thing about it too is just the same channel twice.
Yeah, and that's also great. That's also a big selling point for me. It's having 2 identical channels that you can really have the flexibility to carve one out for certain things and another for others, and be able to bounce between them. That's great. And again, you really do hear the difference between where you said the crush mode, crunch, And then,
then
of course,
clean.
flipping between Bold and Variac.
Yeah.
Boy, it's a matter of taste, but I'm telling you, Bold was good enough for me, but then when you switch to the Variac, I'm just like, okay, well, there it is.
And hearing the clean push is kind of neat too, because you don't really think about doing that on
Yeah,
certain
no,
amps,
and that's
you know?
a nice clean sound. That's a really solid clean. Again, even if I wanted to use it as a pedal platform, I could hang on that clean channel. It's nice and has all the right frequencies, you know?
Yeah,
so,
it's definitely in the ball game there. And, you know, fixed bias, so you just use the Mesa tubes. There's no maintenance there. You don't have to wait and hand it off to an amp tech who's going to have the amp for like a month or so. You know, it's just set it and forget it kind of thing. So I think it's a good little cornerstone of the rectifier family there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a disciple of the Badlander, so I'm in.
Nice.
I like it.
All right.
You know, we spent all that time talking about it, but we didn't even talk about this really wonderful.
I mean,
it looks like a Gibson, but it is an Epiphone.
What's better than 2 pickups?
That's right. Well, 3, I would say.
So you've got the Epiphone inspired by Gibson Custom. That's the 63 SG Custom. Custom buckers.
Custom buckers.
Just like the real custom shop, you know, deal there. So the custom shop pickups, all gold hardware. And, you know, you get the one-piece neck.
One-piece neck.
And it's hand-rolled. Gibson open book headstock. The Grover tuners, all gold there. Hand-wired, you know, electronics with the Mallory caps.
Wow.
CTS pots.
Deluxe all the way. I mean, it's great.
These have been doing really well. I mean, when we did the demos and playthroughs for these guitars, there was quite a few times where I forgot that we were actually like playing an Epiphone. They're just on a mission right now, and they're just killing it. I mean, we're really excited about it. Even with the Maestro Vibrola and all that, it's just a killer-looking guitar. That was one of my favorites. I think that was one of the ones from the demos that was just like really stood out, you know?
Well, there you have it. Dinesh, thank you for taking me through all this.
Man, Paul, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for spending time with us here in Nashville. We really appreciate it.
Until next time, this time I'm going to bring a big old F-150 pickup truck, and I'm just going to load it.
We'll load it up, man. Definitely. No, pleasure as always, man. Really great hanging with you and talking.
Thank you.
Being able to show you a few new toys here.
Thank you. Gibson Studio. Check it out.
See everyone. Thank you.